Hey everyone, today we're going to be doing a review of Rhianna Luciella, the newest ML5 and Epic 7. I think a lot of people just refer to them as RNL. He's a 5-star dark hero, and he has super high base speed, and her impact concentration is attack for your team or 18% crit chance. I think most folks are going to be using this self-imprint though. She has a really unique skill kit, super powerful. And we can take a look at it. So the first one is her S2. This is a loaded kit. Depending on which of the two are present, it's going to do different things. So definitely pay attention to which color unit you have out. So I believe the unit starts with Rhianna, which is the pink one. So when she presses her S2, it's going to dispel 2 buffs, inflict bind, and decrease defense. And as long as there is a debuff there, she's going to be doing an extra attack after swapping to the blue unit, Lucielle. This is going to be pretty much a strong opener against things like Biblis and even Estelle to some degree, because the bind basically means they're not allowed to counter on the hit. They can't activate things like Biblis's passive. In addition to doing a ton of damage, because you're going to be doing decreased defense and then essentially an S1 with the blue unit, which grants her self attack buff, and it's just going to do a lot of damage. I wouldn't be surprised if you can one shot a lot of tanky units with it. When you're on the blue one, so this is going to be after you basically take a turn with the pink one and you loop around and have the S2 up. The S2 is going to be basically giving her attack buff. It's also going to activate. Note that the condition has changed. So now if the unit is less than 50% health, she's going to do an extra attack, swapping to the pink one. Just one thing to keep in mind, because it can be confusing in RTA. You may think, oh, this unit has a debuff. If I press this 2 on the blue form, it's going to attack again, but that's not the case. So just make sure you keep track of which one you're on, because it's actually 2 different effects based on which character is present, right? In terms of the soul burn, so the pink one, which is what you start in, it's going to ignore ER if you soul burn it, and on the blue one, it's going to increase the damage dealt. Her S1, again, it's split between the 2 units, so the pink one is Rhianna, the blue one is Lucielle. S1 is going to do erosion, so it's basically a hit, and then 5% of the unit's max health. It's honestly not that much damage. It's a little negligible, but it is a new debuff. And on the blue one, Lucielle, it's going to give her attack buff, and it's going to do a lot more damage. So I believe this one has a higher multiplier from what I've experienced, but I could be wrong. It also gives her some lifesteal, so she can sustain in the blue form. Her S3 is an AoE attack that ignores damage sharing, meaning things like Aureus, Estelle's passive, and Escort are basically not going to do anything. So the tank basically won't be able to absorb that damage. And it's going to dispel 2 buffs from all enemies, so things like Barrier plus Immunity, and it's going to inflict Fear for 1 turn. This is going to prevent units from doing things like, attacking with, like a counterattack, for example, or even activating things like Biblis's passive, right? It's also going to give them a Barrier for 3 turns, and I guess her unique buff is tied to this. So their unique buff is basically they start with 70% evasion, and they also get effectiveness and crit damage equal to 30% of the speed. So, the higher speed you are, basically you're getting free stats in the form of effectiveness and crit damage. Just, multiply it by 30%. So in terms of build, this is what I'm running right now. I'm using the Violet Talisman artifact because you're going to take 3 turns eventually, and you're going to be at 100% evasion, which is huge, and you're also getting 30% attack. So it helps you scale later in the game. The other option I see a lot of people running are Symbol of Unity, if you want to, run her into things like Setsuko more lively. And they also have the Event Artifact, which is very similar to the Violet Talisman, but it takes effect at the start of the battle, I believe. So it's slightly different, but I think those 3 are kind of the artifacts people are running. In my opinion, Violet Talisman is the best if you have it. If not, you can use the free-to-play event one, or you can use Symbol of Unity. So my build, I have a high amount of attack. My speed, it could be faster. I'm using 320 because I think most openers in RTA sit around this. So I'm keeping her at 320. I've got 100 crit chance. Crit damage is 264, and then I have a little bit of effectiveness. I think it's actually pretty good on her if you can afford it, but it's not necessary. And yeah, you just want to give her high speed gear, ideally like a crit damage neck. Um, and some damage is good. I think the later the game goes, she's just going to scale with the Violet Talisman, right? So that's what I would prioritize there. And in terms of RTA, she's definitely pretty powerful. I see a lot of people use her on, the opener slot. I think for me, I've primarily been using her on the 3 slot in RTA. So locking her in as the lockpick. So in games like this, I know the opponent is slowing down, so I'm guaranteed the first turn, and I can pair her with bridges like the new unit Ludwig or the ML5 Tenny. This game, I guess I picked her on 2 because this is another strategy a lot of people are employing now is a Mort on 3 into things like Estelle, and it kind of shuts them down from countering your RNL. Quickly scroll through a few more games, see if I have any examples. Yeah, here's another example. Again, same kind of pattern here. I'm picking her on 3 and just pairing her with a 4/5. Overall, I think she's a really strong unit. Her kit is very unique. She's an opener, but also she's able to carry a lot of games in the long run just due to her kit. Right? She's got 100% evasion. She's got life steal in her kit from the blue S1. She's got fear. She's got death break, and she also has insane turn cycling. Right? This unit's running around at super high speed. So she can definitely carry a lot of games the later they go. So in terms of is she a must-have? I definitely think she is. This unit is really powerful, not only for RTA, but even things like Guild War. A lot of people are using her on the meta defenses these days. So if you're able to, I highly recommend you get a copy of her before she goes. And yeah, I think this unit is going to be prominent in the meta for a while. I don't think she's going away anytime soon. So I recommend folks try to get her if you can.